Hey, welcome to the Bill Anderson Sports Show. I'm Bill Anderson. Been doing some moving, changing offices up, taking some this bigger basement, and so sorry about the mess. Kind of looks a little wonky, and I'll get it cleaned up in the next few days. But I wanted to touch on some things that I've been thinking about this week. One of the things I'm thinking about is who's the best team in the NFC? Who is right now the favorite to win the NFC? And if it's me, and I know people are going to think I'm nuts, but I'm going to say that it's the San Francisco 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles today. Now, I know what you're saying. Nobody likes Jimmy G. Everybody thinks Jimmy G is awful. But man, he sure wins a lot of football games. He wins a lot of football games. Now, with that roster being stacked, you got. I think the best thing that happened to them was Trey Lance getting hurt, because these players want to win, and they know that Jimmy G gives them a better chance of winning than Trey Lance does. So I really think that this injury, when it happened, I don't want to say there's players happy that Trey got hurt, but they were happy that Jimmy was going to be the starter. I think with the NFC being down, I think with the NFC West in particular, not near the division it was last year, or especially the previous couple of years before that. Seattle's not as good. Arizona really seems to be reeling. The Rams can't protect the quarterback to save their life. They have one wide receiver that Matthew Stafford will throw the ball to. Just really, it's just not a good division right now. I think in the end, I think the Rams and the 49ers will be there fighting for the division, but I just think the Rams defense, with the weapons they have on offense, Jimmy doesn't have to throw the ball deep down the field for them to win games. And we saw what they did the other night to the Rams. And Jimmy G, if I remember right, the stat is he's 7-0 against Sean McVay in the regular season. Now, I know they lost in the NFC Championship last year, and that, counted more than any of the other games, but you can't discount his regular season record against Sean McVay and the Rams. Just can't discount it. Now, the other team that I'm looking at, and I think a lot of people are, is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I looked it up. Jalen Hurts improved his completion percentage this year by 5 percentage points. That's huge. That's a lot of completions through the season. He's got a 66.7 completion percentage. He's thrown for 1,120 yards this year. Now, he's only thrown for 4 touchdowns, but he hasn't had to throw a lot of touchdowns. They're just a well-balanced, running, throwing, doing it all kind of a football team. So I think when it gets down to the nitty-gritty at the end, my Packers don't have any faith in them. The Rams, they're not fixing their offensive line this year, right? The Patriots or the Buccaneers, I just don't know. I mean, they don't look great now. I don't ever want to count Tom Brady out. And the reports that him and Giselle have both sought divorce lawyers might change some things, but I just don't know what they are until they get humming and they get clicking. Their offensive line is not good. It's not good. And so you had a team like the Packers, who is not as good as Tampa Bay, going and beat them. So I just don't know who else would go in there that's in there right now that you can say. Nobody's going to say Dallas, right? Nobody's going to say Dallas. Nobody else in the NFC East is even close, right? The Giants, they're rebuilding, 3-1, but I think Brian Daboll's just a really good coach. Just a really good coach. Who else? Does anybody else have somebody in the NFC that you think is better than that? Please comment. I'd love to hear it. Love to engage with people. I want to get in. Kirk Cousins is struggling, right? Like, the whole thing was he was going to have a big year because he's finally got an offensive coach who believes in him. And last year, through 4 weeks, Kirk Cousins had 1,121 yards, 9 touchdowns, and a pick. Okay? Pretty good. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception through 4 games. Pretty darn good. This year through 4 games, he's thrown for 1,031 yards, so that's not far off, but he's thrown 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. They came out, throttled the Packers on opening week, which that seems to be a trend under Matt LaFleur, let's face it. Played Monday Night Football against the Eagles. It was really Jalen Hurts' coming out party, and that team's coming out party. Then the Vikings, it took a last minute drive to beat the Detroit Lions at home. And then they flew to London, played the Saints with Andy Dalton at quarterback, and just eked out a win there. I think Kirk's a franchise quarterback, but is he that quarterback that's going to push you over the top? Didn't play good on Monday night. Didn't play particularly well on Sunday morning when he was the only game on TV. I feel bad for Minnesota Viking fans. I hate to say that as a Packer fan, but these poor people. I have a friend of mine who buys season tickets, goes to all the games, lives, dies by the Minnesota Vikings, and every year it feels like crushed all the time. He's always getting crushed. His dreams dashed. Now, I hope for his sake that Kirk Cousins can step it up, that he can take the coaching, and that they have some success. And I think that they have the best roster in the NFC North. But as long as you have Kirk Cousins, you're not winning a Super Bowl. And if you're not playing to win Super Bowls, what are you playing for? I would almost rather get really bad for a couple of years, hope you can draft one of the young studs coming out of college, and build the team up around him. Now look at the difference it's made for Cincinnati. A couple of years ago, they were done. Draft Joe Burrow, year 2, Super Bowl, AFC title, right? AFC champs. But if you got a guy like Kirk Cousins, the best you can hope for is maybe a division title, win a game in the playoffs, and you're done. That's about the best you can hope for. Maybe get to an NFC championship game, maybe. But he just isn't. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Packers, and there was a lot said. I saw on last week leading up into the game, Packers have only scored 1 second half touchdown. Just haven't done well in the second half. Well, the script kind of flipped this week on that. In the first half, Aaron Rodgers was 4 for 11 for 44 yards and a pick 6. Fast forward to the second half, he was 17 of 24, 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. He completed passes to 7 receivers on Sunday. Now, I don't think he still trusts those young wide receivers in Watson and Dobbs. I think he trusts Dobbs a lot more than he trusts Watson, because he will throw the ball downfield to Dobbs. And Dobbs has made some plays. He's made some drops, but he's made some plays. This team is a work in progress, and if I was running the Packers, and they won't do this, they never do, but if I was running the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to go out and find a wide receiver. Odell's out there. I'm not a huge Odell Beckham fan, but the guy can ball. You get him with Aaron Rodgers, right? Randall Cobb. You got Tunyon on the as the tight end. You got yourself some guys, but they're missing that one piece. And if they don't, Rodgers is getting old, right? He's getting older. He's talked retirement. Once you start talking retirement, it's not that far around the corner, typically, right? And then thinking about all that got me thinking, when was the last time Green Bay really had a good coach? I'm asking you, Packer fans. Was Mike McCarthy a good coach? Was Mike Sherman? I mean, okay, maybe calling him not a good coach is going too far. But those guys, they're not guys that are going to push you over the top. And yep, I know Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. And everything came together just about perfectly to get that win. Get that. Because I remember that year, 2010, October, that team didn't look like a playoff team, let alone a team that was going to win the Super Bowl at the end of the year. Now, fast forward, we got Matt LaFleur, who I think he could scheme up some good offense, and he sure has schemed guys open. But, man, when the lights are really bright, he gets out-coached almost every time. When you're going up against the Buccaneers or Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, and everybody's going to say, well, it was special teams. It was special teams that gave that up. The offense was anemic after that fumble by Mercedes Lewis. All right? He didn't do anything to make that offense get it humming, right? And I don't know if that's partly him, partly Aaron Rodgers, or both, right? But Aaron does get to those points where he's like, I don't trust what's going on, and I'm just gonna do what I can do to hold on to this thing. And it isn't good enough. It isn't ever good enough. But I asked that question because I really believe that the last time we had a great coach was Mike Holmgren. Nobody thinks the Packers won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers because of Mike McCarthy. Nobody thinks that. I've never heard anybody once say, man, that guy's offense is genius. We're kind of seeing how average he is in Dallas. Just if you want any example, look at the fiasco that happened. The clock running out in the playoffs last year. They got a quarterback draw, hoping they could get a spike down before the clock runs out. And Mike McCarthy, instead of saying, well, that was a mistake, tried to justify it. Wasn't good. Mike McCarthy, not good. Not good. Average. Average at best. Right? We don't know Matt LaFleur, how good of a coach he is. Again, everybody's like, well, he's won more games and blah, blah. Don't care. Because 2 trips to the NFC title game, 1 at home, should have won that game. He got out-coached. Last year against Kyle Shanahan, he got out-coached. When the light is biggest, he's kind of like the Kirk Cousins of coaches. And now I know Packer fans don't like to hear that, but show me where I'm wrong. Show me at what point Matt LaFleur has shown that he is the coach that can get the Packers to a Super Bowl. I really believe that, and I love the Packers, but I really believe that the Green Bay Packers, at the end of the day, when Rodgers retires, we're going to look at this and go, we had 30-plus years of Hall of Fame quarterback play and only 2 Super Bowl championships. and everybody's gonna blame that on the two quarterbacks, but the franchise has to take some responsibility for that as well. They play it conservative. They don't take any risk. The last risk they took was way back in 2008 or 9, 7, 6, whatever it was. They signed Charles Woodson. What was the one risky move that they've done since then? Was it Julius Peppers? Maybe. It wasn't really risky. He wanted to come here. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be jiving with me. It doesn't seem to me like the Green Bay Packers as an organization have done everything that they can do to deliver more Super Bowls with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back. And the third guy walking through that door when Aaron leaves. We know this, right? It's not happening. Aaron has the talent. The defense is good enough this year. Green Bay, I'm just implore you, go get another receiver. Sammy Watkins, good. He's always hurt. Always hurt. Now, I want to switch to this a little bit. I want to talk, and I'm not a Badger fan, but I live in Wisconsin, and I kind of know some things that are going on, and I hear some things, and I want to talk about the firing of Paul Chryst, and I think it was smart of the Wisconsin Badgers to do that now. That team didn't have any fire. Paul Chryst has the personality of wet cardboard. He just didn't have any fire, and the team looked like they took on the personality of their coach. Now, I have some opinions on what they should do, and here in Wisconsin, almost everybody you talk to, they really want Jim Leonhard to take and be the head coach of this football team. And while I really like Jim Leonhard, I mean, heck, he grew up less than an hour from where I live. Really like Jim Leonhard, really good defensive coach. That's the thing, though. He's a good defensive coach. And I know it's college. College isn't the same as the NFL, but even Nick Saban had to adjust the way he recruits and coaches the games and plans these games out. He just learned that he can't just have the best defense in the country anymore and win a national title. Johnny Manziel taught him that, right? Doesn't matter how good a defense you have. The football is such an offensive game now that it doesn't matter how good your defense is. The offenses are going to put points up. And it's just the way it is, especially in college. And if I'm the Wisconsin Badgers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out. I'm going to try to find if I was them, I'd call Matt Rule from the Carolina Panthers. The guy's a really good college coach. Doesn't look like of course, he hasn't had a quarterback since he got there. He had Teddy Bridgewater for a season, but Teddy's a good backup, but he's not the main guy. But I'm thinking, like, after this year, Carolina's probably going to look to move on. And if I'm Wisconsin Badgers, that's one of the guys I give a call to. But you need to have an offensive guy. Because the thing is if you hire a defensive coach and offenses keep evolving time after time, over time, and you have a good one, he's going to get poached to become somebody's head coach, and now you got to go out and find another one. So if I'm the Wisconsin Badgers, I'd be a little bit apprehensive about hiring Jim Leonhard as the head coach. And again, I really like Jim Leonhard. I think we really need to wait and see what's going to happen through this through the rest of the season for them. But I'd be more looking to go offense than a defensive head coach. That's my rant for today. That's my takes on today. Hey guys, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Tell me where you disagree with me. I'd love to go back and forth, and I hope you all have yourself a really good day. Have a good one.